Esports has become a lot more than simply video games, because video games is becoming a sort of competitive environment now. You have players from all around the world coming here to really show off their skills. And actually, you're looking at one of those matches right now. This is Ariel, one of the Israeli players, playing a competitive game called Tekken, a fighting game. Now, it's not just a video game, because these players actually have to engage in perfect timing, in many cases mathematical skills, and in other cases just psychological trick outs as they attempt to distract the opponent, perfectly time and feint them into making a wrong move, because one wrong move can seal the entire match. And this is just one of hundreds of people around me that are participating in competitive games just like this one. Now, as you can see, the Israeli player Ariel here seems to have the upper hand over South Africa, but that could change in a brief moment. Of course, this match it appears not to have, as the Israeli player takes a round victory. Not necessarily the same. They're just 1-1 right now. We'll see where that goes. There's a host of other video games going on around me today, and you can actually take a quick look and see some of them in progress. We have another one called CSGO, which is a first-person shooter game where players take the role of terrorists or counter-terrorist forces and fight their way across multiple maps. There's another one called Dota, which is a sort of tower defense or a base defense game where people form teams. I believe that's what you can see going on right here on one of the screens behind me. They take these characters called champions and they fight other teams to protect their base or their castle and to try to take out the other team's base or castle. And this is not simply about video games and playing. This sort of thing has become a very big deal around the world, both as an economic thing as well as an industry. As professional players, you have these video gamers can go on to get big sponsorships. Now, winning a tournament here might net them $50,000 in cash, but going on from the tournament, you can go a lot further than that. You get a sponsorship from a major company. You get a major streaming business going on. You could be raking in millions of dollars on an annual, even a monthly basis. So the stakes are actually pretty high.
Ariel, I'm going to ask you another question, but as I do, can you wander over back to that street fighting game? I know there was kind of like a boxing match. I wanted to see if the Israelis going to win this one. But as Ariel, tell me more about the competition here. This is not just one-on-one competition. It's also team events. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of different varieties to the competition that's unfolding.
Absolutely. We just showed you directly this sort of boxing thing you mentioned. This is a one-on-one game right now, but there are the team games. One we mentioned, Dota, CSGO. These are team-based because everybody in the team has to work together. We were talking about that sort of perfect timing and the ability to psychologically trick out your opponent. You've got to be able to do that simultaneously while working as an entire team. And this is something that takes months of training. Many of these players tell me that they play these games for a good 3 hours a day, in some cases more, either alone or as part of a team to get their dynamics going. If we could find one of the active Counter-Strike games, I could actually show you in action, but I'm not sure we have the time to find that at the time. I think it's on the other side of the building. You'll be able to see some of these teams working as an entire unit. They don't even have to talk about it. They just understand the maps. They have a perfect knowledge of the interior video game architecture, and they don't really have to communicate to really act as an entire team, as a unit. And it's done with speeds that you would not believe. If you only played video games casually or not at all, you would not believe the way these people are able to flicker through their options and to really time their moves perfectly. Not just their moves, but their coordination. It's really incredible to watch in action.
Yeah, I could see also, Ariel, how you could easily get lost in this kind of maze of computer games and screens all around you. What is the atmosphere there? I mean, this is tense? Is it happy and jovial?
Everyone I've seen so far has seemed pretty jovial. We just showed Ariel's match right before he started. He and his opponent from South Africa were laughing, they were joking, they were talking. We've seen opponents from matches come up and hug each other after the game. And it's a very important thing because not all of the opponents are from countries that are necessarily on good terms with each other. It was a very big deal this year that it was held in Israel because there are a lot of teams from Muslim-majority nations and Arab nations that are either here or had to choose not to come in some cases, and that would create some tension. But so far, the atmosphere has been one of camaraderie instead.
All right, Ariel Waldman for us in Eilat, checking out the action. Thanks so much for that very interesting walkthrough of the day's events.